You're live with Archibald Chesterfield III, AC3, the Pontiff, the Governor's Governor. And today I want to talk about the Rolex market, the Rolex watch market. And I've got my friend Clyde joining me. Hello, Clyde. How are you?
Good. How about yourself, Pontiff?
Yeah, I've been better. It's very, very hard. We've got Google Ads problems. I'm unable to, my sideline business where I sell a few pieces on the side has collapsed. The watch market's collapsed. And I want to talk to you today about the Rolex watch market. Clyde is a huge Rolex lover, aren't you, Clyde?
Yeah. I like to scavenge a few pieces from the bottom.
Clyde, the wristwatch market itself, Rolex is the king, okay? Patek is kind of, you know, that's like the chairman, because Patek, the problem with Patek is the number of watches they make a year, rumored to be around 50,000, is too small to really reflect the market. They're the upper echelon brand there, and Rolex is probably the king of luxury watches there, because they sell over 1 million, rumored because they don't release figures officially, but it's rumored to be well over 1 million watches a year. I want your opinion, Clyde. You're a sane man. You're a bit of a collector. You've owned a few Rolexes. You know the different models.
Right.
I'm going to put this to you. In my opinion, the release of the new ceramic Daytona in steel, it's complete market manipulation. They deliberately limit supply to increase demand. What is your opinion?
No, it's a complete Ponzi scheme.
It is a complete
It always has been, though. I mean, the most popular models, they only release a few in stainless steel, and they give those out to like their VIPs, whatever dealer, whoever is sucking their cock at the time. And the ones you can only find really that, if you're lucky, the two-tones or the all precious metals. But they still have the stainless steel and say, oh well, we sell this one for only this much. You just can't get it. Well, always manipulating the market, really. I mean, when it comes right down to it, the Swiss are ruthless.
Thank you. The only people who are more ruthless than the Swiss or more nasty are the French.
Sometimes I wonder if the Swiss are just simply the Nazis with better chocolate.
I'm not going to comment on that, Clyde. I got to tell you, in all honesty, like the brand Louis Vuitton and Hermes, that's the silent H, H-E-R, you know those two brands.
Right.
Have you heard of those two brands, Clyde? Yes or no, firstly?
I've heard of Hermes, and you're gonna make a face, but only because of their customized straps for the Apple Watch. That's how I first became familiar with it. I think the association with Apple probably brought it to a wider audience than previously before.
The very famous, the Hermes was famous for the Birkin. That's a handbag designed by actress Jane Birkin. She designed it when she was on a plane with the CEO of Hermes at the time. Princess Grace of Monaco also had a Kelly bag. These are some very iconic handbags. These handbags sell from $15,000 mark, okay? Very expensive. And Hermes, you can't buy one either. They limit supply. Now, Rolex has been very clever. What they've done in recent times, they have reduced the number of authorized dealers.
Right.
They've also, for a lot of dealers who did remain, they've said, okay, we want you to only sell Rolex. I know in Brisbane, where I'm from, they had a store called Langford's. And Langford's used to sell a few other brands of watches, and they sold jewelry and diamonds and things like that. Rolex said, we want you to have a boutique-looking store. Nothing illegal about this. I'm just telling you, this is what they did. So to the untrained eye, you would think you would never see the word. Langford's is still sort of there, but it's more, looks like a Rolex boutique. And Rolex has been pushing for a very important boutique look. So it's, I just got to grab that. Can you cover for me?
Sure. Okay, Captain said, sorry, that was a hyperbole about the Swiss. Nothing personal, just having a little go. Let's see. Captain Zed hates Rolex Explorers. Archie's in Nana Kim's waiting room. Okay, Archie, as you've never seen him before.
You might get a what?
Let's see.
Okay.
Archie has stumbled across one of the biggest Ponzi schemes the world has ever seen. Serious individuals.
Where are you now?
Okay, flex them. The bargain basement deals
My account?
go for individuals. Craigslist. I hate to say this. It can be a big pain in the ass sometimes. But if someone's willing to meet you at a jeweler or authorized retailer and have the watch verified, you can at least be assured that at least they think the watch is real. If they hem or haw and don't want to meet you, then it's a faker or a scam artist.
Okay. Do we get some chips for them too? Chips instead.
Archie needs any job. Waiting for subs from the AD has become the norm.
Okay, so
Also, you can also find some good deals on Datejust locally, but you have to be careful with Datejust because there's almost too many variations. The bargain basement bunch. All right, back to the show.
Clyde, I just got to do something here. Keep talking. I'm predicting. Do you think it's a completely manipulated market? What's your opinion? The new Rolex market.
Of course it is. Supply and demand. You know, God, remember like Beanie Babies or Cabbage Patch Kids growing up?
Yes,
how many times they manipulate the demand? You know, choking down on demand, so everyone is almost literally ready to commit murder and rape and carnage and mayhem, then only to release the models, only to release stock right before Christmas. So that way there would be a massive buying frenzy right before Christmas, and sales records could go through the roof. People want what they think they can't have. So it makes perfect sense.
And tell me this, Clyde. Is there anything illegal about doing this, manipulating the market like this?
Well, I can't really speak. That's not really my area of expertise. It could be, market collusion. I think only if Rolex or if the different brands get together and collectively interfere with.
No, I don't think they're doing that. The Rolex is Rolex. Rolex doesn't need these losers. They don't need these loser brands. The other brands are loser brands. You know that?
Right. Well, I think Rolex would be in a better position than most. It's a privately held company. So as you're saying, they don't have to release figures. The only people they have to release figures to is the trust that they're set up to benefit. Rolex can quietly restrict stock down to nothing. Now, they'd still want to keep their authorized dealers alive. So my guess is what they would be, they'd start like Langford's. They'd quietly tell Langford's, hey, if you guys want to start selling other brands again quietly and discreetly, that's cool with us. I've read a few times that a lot of authorized dealers, third parties, they have a love-hate relationship with Rolex. Rolex brings people in, but they end up selling lesser brands instead. So
Rolex brings people in.
And a lot of times it's just like, I'm sorry, we don't discount this. It's Rolex. We don't offer a discount. On the other hand, we'd like to offer, isn't this I can't say it. Tag Heuer extremely pretty? We could probably discount that. We could probably take 30% off this.
I see.
So if they did that, Rolex could then just keep their mouth shut, ride out the wave, not say anything, wait for everyone else to flounder and fail. The authorized dealers would be kept alive by selling other brands quietly, and they just wait for the downturn to end. I mean, I think they're in the best position to do that, and that way, Rolex is. I
got to tell you, I think Rolex has been incredibly clever, because I'll tell you this now, right?
Right.
I'm trying to sell a deep sea for a friend of mine. I can't give that fucking thing away.
Because everyone wants the James Cameron edition, right?
Or the 43 mil red Sea Dweller.
Okay.
So they milked it for as much as they could. That watch was so popular when it came out in, when was it, 09 or something like that.
Right.
It was the 44 mil. It was huge. It was mammoth. Everyone wanted it. Price on the secondary market was selling for a premium. They slowly released a different version, which rumor has it that they released the James Cameron because the standard one wasn't selling too well.
Mm-hmm.
And now they've released a 43 mil. See, Rolex doesn't give a fuck about the secondary market for their product, do they?
Well, indirectly, though, because I hate to say it, but the expectation that if I hold on to this watch long enough, it'll eventually go up in value. Now, keep in mind, Rolex isn't going to make any secondary sales. I mean, money for the secondary sales. You know, I walk in there and they look at me like a scavenger.
Yes, but
like a dingo pulling the last.
Let me just explain something interesting to you. Do you notice with diamond advertising, what do they say about diamonds?
Diamonds are forever.
Diamonds are forever, and it's an heirloom. You pass your diamond. You don't sell your diamond jewelry, right?
Right.
What's the advertising slogan for Patek Philippe? You never actually own a Patek. You merely look after it for the next generation.
Right.
They don't say you hawk it on eBay when times get tough, do they?
Well, you know, I've never seen it. I've only seen one Patek, and it was like from the 60s or 70s, and you told me it was too small and stay clear of it. Something else to go completely ADD. Mm-hmm. I have never seen a goddamn Omega Speedmaster offered anywhere around me. Not once. Not ever. But anyway, yeah, I get the point you're saying. But what they'll do is they'll release something. It'll be the new hotness, and they will milk it and milk it and milk it and milk it and milk it. And then once demand starts to wane on a little bit, then they'll release the new one. In this case, originally it was the GMT2, the black bezel sub. You know, everyone started getting a little tired of that. Then they released the Batman, and so everyone's just killing themselves to try to get that.
And I think they're going to have, once the Batman starts to wane a bit, they'll have an orange version. An orange, a Jaffa. Pepsi. I think they're going to go Jaffa, a Jaffa version. So how's this? Black with orange down the bottom.
What's a Jaffa?
Jaffa is a chocolate. It's an orange lolly. Jaffas, you roll them down the aisle in the movie theaters. Jaffas, they're an orange flavored chocolate.
You appear to be speaking English, but I have no idea what any of those words mean.
Okay. Well, basically, it's orange. So what I'm saying is, I reckon they're gonna maybe how about a GMT with yellow, black and yellow, Bumblebee, the Sting version. I think they'll do a Coke and then finally a Pepsi. You know how Pepsi's always been popular. The reason they have Pepsi in white gold now, you've only got to buy the white gold, solid gold version and that shot. Look, I got to tell you, seriously, I honestly think Rolex is doing, this is the sad thing, they're doing what Panerai used to get away with. What's that? They're manipulating with limited editions and rare things. Oh, yeah. And they're artificially rigging the market, the steel Daytona. I mean, you're going to tell me that Rolex couldn't meet demand if they produced 100,000 steel Daytonas and said, right, okay, every Rolex dealer, we're going to send you 20 to start with. Is that enough?
No, they wouldn't, because it would destroy demand for the watch. They have to make it.
It's a Ponzi scheme, isn't it?
It's a complete Ponzi scheme. Yes, it is.
And it's market manipulation, isn't it?
Just smart, savvy, ruthless marketing.
People want what they can't have, don't they?
Unobtainium. Yeah, I mean, there's a part of me that does. Oh, remember me telling you about that two-tone Zenith Daytona over at around Fort Smith?
Yes.
Some asshole got it, literally 7,500. Now some asshole bought it. It's the exact same one. I recognize it by sight. I've looked at that ad somewhere. Now someone's trying to sell it for twice as much. I don't know who you are, Brock, but fuck you. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, well, you can't blame him for that, can you?
Yeah, I can a little bit.
I told you to buy it. You didn't listen to me, Clyde.
I didn't have the. Oh, I was having a little short flow problem, cash flow.
Yeah, that's what credit cards are for. You heard of a credit card?
I used to go around for a guy and sue people for defaulting on their credit cards. Credit cards are snake eggs. You don't want any.
But that doesn't mean you've got to default. You've got to pay your bills on time. You don't pay your rates or you don't pay your rent. How long is the landlord going to let you stay there?
Well, exactly. But on the other hand, pay cash. This is also from an individual. Also, if you do a cash advance on a credit card, oh my God, that's the most. You might as well borrow it from the mafia.
So tell me this, Clyde. Do you honestly think the Rolex market is completely manipulated?
Shrewdly managed, yes.
What do you think of the way that they released the Sky Dweller? Now they've got the two-tone version of it out.
Didn't they also release a stainless steel version of it as well?
They've got a stainless steel one with a white gold bezel. It's not a full stainless steel, but it's actually steel and gold two-tone.
Well, okay, but if only the bezel is a white gold, it would. I mean, I think a Datejust, if the all Datejust basically most or aren't the bezels always precious metals?
Sometimes, but they do have the steel with the steel bezel as well.
But that's only with the smooth rounded one.
No,
right?
no, they have engine turned one as well.
Hmm.
It used to be 16220 was the model for the engine turned bezel steel. But I got to tell you, Clyde, obviously the Sky Dweller is not selling as much as they wanted, so now they've released it in a much more affordable format.
Right.
They're very clever, aren't they? I suppose it's this way. If people want a two-door car and the four doors aren't selling, well, give them what they want. Hey, we'll give them what they want. They want a two-door, no problem, whatever they want. And I suppose, Clyde, it's Rolex is trying to stamp out discounting. Have you ever bought a new Rolex?
No, hell no. If I want my ass kissed, I'll get a prostitute and have it done honestly. Sorry, but I mean,
yes.
I've got a colleague who bought a new Datejust 2.
Yes.
And it has a smooth bezel, and I get to show him my Milgauss that I spent 1/3 the price for.
Yeah.
And I could just almost see him deflating in front of me, like.
Did you get a discount?
Well, no, he didn't. He said, I guess they saw me coming a mile away. It's like, well, Dave.
Did he ask for a discount?
I don't know if he did or not, but if he did, they probably didn't tell. Of course, they're not going to really throw that on the table. He doesn't watch ArchieLuxury, number one.
Did you see my video yesterday, my 40-minute video on how to get a new Rolex at a discount?
Yes, and also the one about dealer tricks.
What did you think? Just tell me honestly. You cannot offend me. The truth cannot offend me. What did you think of that video?
I like the getting the tricks. I like that one. It was a little on the long side. Now, keep in mind, one of the great things about ArchieLuxury, it's short attention span watch theater. Yeah. When you when you start getting past 20 minutes, that's almost like some other guys, which I will not mention.
Sure. Sure. So what did you think? Is it true? Some points there?
Oh yeah, very good points. And I
You've got to do your homework, don't you? You've got to do your homework, don't you?
Yeah, and also know. I mean, one of the things you talked about in, but I walked into a deal. I was thinking I was looking for a link or something, and they still had a white Milgauss on the table. I was thinking, now that's the one you ought to be able to go in and hardcore negotiate for because it's officially discontinued. It's like this was discontinued months and months ago, guys.
Yes.
So, how much? How much? Don't you want to get that off your shelf? And sorry, I was just looking at the comments. But but again, that's knowing your stuff and knowing what's current, what's hot, and what's not. And let's throw it back on them. How long has that little puppy been sitting there? There's stories of white Milgausses sitting on dealer shelves for like years.
Very. You're right. You're very right there. What do you think of this bronze Tudor? Is Rolex going to have a bronze come out?
I don't know. I really don't keep up with Tudor, to be honest. It's barely enough to keep up with Rolex.
Some of these comments are nasty. Swap your IWC for a family pizza.
Oh, the engineer. I mean, the engine.
Yeah. Geez, they're savage, aren't they?
Oh yeah. A white Milgauss has been in Langford's for years. Oh, there. I'm a very unsuccessful shyster. Okay, cool. And by the way, there's nothing on the wall behind me because I'm a bachelor. I don't want to put anything on my fucking walls, okay? I've got actually artwork to put on. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. It's not my biggest priority.
No.
So yeah. But but IWC, I think it doesn't have the brand recognition. It has a niche following, but everyone knows Rolex. Growing up red dirt, white trash, son of farmers' kids in Western Oklahoma, even we knew what Rolex were, or is something. But IWC, what? Patek Philippe, maybe.
IWC. So tell me this. You don't think they're going to have a bronze Rolex come out to cash in on that new?
No. Well, as has been said before, I think even by you, is by the time Rolex gets on a trend, the trend is over.
Yes. Very, very true words, Clyde.
Yeah. The
Rolex getting a lot sharper, but they've cashed in on this ceramic Daytona crap.
Well, of course. And just release it in bits and dribbles and wait for demand to fall off on one before they release the next one.
Very clever, don't you think?
Yes. I know, Clyde, I know you took down the Farrah Fawcett posters. I have no idea what you're talking about, but I had a brother-in-law actually met her in an airport one time. Anyway, long story. But this is way after she was hot.
She's always hot, isn't she? Farrah Fawcett would always be hot, wouldn't she?
Yeah, true, but like not in her prime hot, like milfy hot. Pony play. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm distracted by the comments going off on the side.
Yes.
But if you're willing to put in the time, I think now is a wonderful time to buy Rolex. But it's the same thing from individuals. You just have to use some extra precautions. Know your stuff. Know your model. Sometimes with you might have an uneducated seller.
Yes.
Sometimes they really don't know what it's worth because the economy's bad. There are possibly fire sales. But
is the economy bad in America?
Well, like I said, I can only speak for the southwest corner of it. But yeah, Oklahoma,
oil and gas is problematic.
Because when it's high, we're doing great, and everyone else is getting stuck with high fuel costs. When it goes down, everyone else has more money in their pocket, and we're losing jobs.
Yes.
So Dallas is the happy hunting ground for Rolex. In Wichita Falls.
Yes.
I actually saw a 16610 box and papers for about $3,000 last night, but it got snatched up within a few hours.
What was it again?
A date sub, pre-ceramic.
How much?
3,000.
Wow.
Now, keep in mind, you have to, you have to play the little game with them and get them to send pictures of the, of the certification if they've got it. You also have to get them to agree to meet you at an authorized dealer or a jeweler. But generally, if people will do that, they at least believe that the watch is real. You might, of course, sometimes you might have a scammer playing a long game, but that's just, I guess, sometimes you just pay the offset in price with time. For me, it's the, what's that music? Is it on your end?
Yeah, it's all cool.
That's not the Doors.
No, it's classic.
Nice. They say listening to classic music increases your IQ. Anyway, but sometimes you spend more time to get the good deals, but I kind of like the thrill of the hunt, quite frankly.
I see, the thrill of the hunt. Wow.
Yeah.
So, Clyde, what's your advice to people out there who are looking for Rolex? Would you buy new? Should a newbie buy new? Should you buy new?
No.
What would you do?
Buying a new luxury watch is for people who are mad at their money. That's for people who hate their money. Buy used. Buy used. Know the market. Know the brand. Know the model. Ask questions and verify. Pawn shops also. Pawn shops can be hit or miss, but if you buy it from a pawn shop, make sure they state in the receipt that it's authentic. If you're going to get through a pawn shop, though, you might as well use a credit card so you'll have buyer protection.
Yes, buyer protection. That's a good thing to have there. Clyde,
Stay the hell
I got to tell you,
Go
would
ahead.
you be buying any of these new Rolexes, like the Sea Dweller Red? Would you be buying that? What do you think? What's your opinion?
No, I pre-owned all the way. It's like getting a used. You want to get a used car. You want to get a 2-year-old used car. You get it when it still has the new smell, but let the other guy in front of you take the depreciation hit.
Yes, that's a very good point, isn't it?
Well, yeah, learned it from you. Well, also the car part from Dad.
Yes.
Archie doesn't wear protection. How would you know? Anyway, I actually think if you're careful, if you have the cash, of course, cold hard cash helps. Also, if you're negotiating with someone, it's a pain in the ass to count out, but instead of a small stack of hundreds, a big stack of 20s. For some reason. There's just something. Of course, you're sitting there all day until you get carpal tunnel count. 21, 22. But on the other hand, it's just like when you hold out a big wad of money, people think, in like animalistically, it's more money.
Clyde, would you? Okay, so basically, I agree with you. A lot of people like to buy their first watch new, and I've often said this to people, when you met your girlfriend, she wasn't a virgin. Why does your watch have to be one as well?
No, absolutely not. It doesn't make any sense, really.
I'm buying it. It's going to be my first one, and I'm never going to sell it, so it doesn't matter if I pay retail.
Well, the trouble is, buying watches, the horological value, journey is almost philosophical as much as it is financial. You kind of learn something. I actually learned something about myself in the process. watches, it has to be illogical, but it also has to be emotional. There are watches that made perfect sense but never sang to me. I just didn't get emotionally involved with. I had a two-tone Datejust that I had trouble. It was gold hands on a champagne dial, and those things suck if you're over 40. Right. Ingenieur.
I actually love this watch. I actually did love this watch. That's why I fell in love with it.
Right.
But don't buy these absurd brands. You've got to stick with Rolex. Stick with the icons. Stick with the icons, and you won't lose money.
Actually, do you know what the thing is? There have been some where logically it didn't make sense. Logically it didn't make sense, but the emotion more than made up for it. And behold my lowly, very lowly 15200. Just your
152.
typical.
It's a sapphire.
No, I'm sorry, 15000.
Okay.
I stand corrected. Early 80s.
I see.
I keep finding these little safe coins. I mean, I find this one. I found this little safe coin like a mile from my office. And Okies, we don't want to wear the good watch. We'll just hold it back in reserve. Then we die in the process.
And then we die. Why the fuck does that happen, Clyde? That is so stupid, don't you think?
Because you don't want to mess it up. You don't want to mess it up.
You don't enjoy it. It's like having the good car and the bad car. The good car,
the beater. But the thing is about this watch, it's just like, I've had a little OP before, one that was even older. It was all silver dial, silver face. This one, it's one of the cheaper models.
How much do you pay for that?
$2,400.
Oh, that's not so cheap. That's still, but it's mint. It's mint box and papers.
Yes. And the thing is, it punches above its weight class. It's just like, it's a cheaper one. There's nothing special about it. It's small. It's smaller than I normally like.
You wear it a bit?
Yeah, I actually do. Okay, my former nephew graduated. Awesome. In case you're wondering about the ding. But the thing is, what I like about this one, even though it's a small size, it's very high visibility. So I can read the son of a bitch, no problems. And I also like the black dial and the silver indices because it punches above its weight class. It's almost a dress watch. It could be casual or dress just as easy. And probably this would be one of the last ones I'd give up.
Wow. Clyde, we're going to wrap this show up there. Thanks for joining us.
Did I bore you too much there, Pontiff?
No, no, I love it. I actually love it. I like the enthusiasm for the 15000. That's a great watch. Only thing is, if I bought one, I want to mint one, and you've got to mint one. So that's the way to do it. I got to tell you, I personally wouldn't be buying these new. A lot of people ask me, do I buy the Batman? Do I buy the black one? Do I get? And these are very mundane questions. The reality is I'd be buying used.
Well, and
don't buy new. Don't buy new.
When the Batman came out, after a while, I mean, a few months ago, there was like a like a 2-year-old black bezel GMT in Tulsa for $6,000. I was thinking, I could probably go up there with 5. So it helps to be contrarian, really. You don't want to get what everyone else is getting. It's just like
exactly.
And right, I mean, maybe 5 or 6 years from now, the Batman, but why do you want to spend thousands of dollars to wear the exact same watch that every other asshole is wearing?
I agree, Clyde. That's very, very good. And don't get sucked into this Rolex manipulation of the market, because there's a lot better value in the second-hand buys. Okay, Clyde, wrap it up.
Fight the Ponzi scheme. Fight the Ponzi scheme.
Fight the Ponzi. Wrap that up. Thanks for having a